Hello, Kingsgate Club. I am the music man, Tom Hicks. I hope and pray that everybody is in good health and spirits during this period of time. I'm inviting you to all sit down with your family at home and enjoy a little bit of time in the world of music. Some friends of yours and mine have spent some time producing a podcast of music created from the Music of the Decades concerts that I did during the season. The music man, Tom Hicks, at the organ, Don Richmond doing graphics, Ren McMahon's doing the publishing, Jan Anderson and Brian Bolt, both on audio during the concert. We will be placing all 5 videos up on the website for you to see and hear at will, whenever you have time to sit down and relax with your family. We have the video, music from the 20s ready to go. In the 20s, the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s will follow one every week. We will notify you on cable news and the newsletter when the videos will be posted. We hope that you enjoy these videos as much as we have enjoyed doing them. Thanks, the music man Tom Hicks and friends. This video was produced for the sole purposes of helping to ease the blues of being restricted at home while we all fight this virus together. Thank you very much and enjoy the music. Tonight I will spend the evening playing songs that were written for you in the 30s. Let's start off with a great song that we all know, God Bless America. The 1930s shaped up by contrasting moods of the Great Depression and the glamorous beginnings of old Hollywood. Popular music was equally impacted by their forces, and as the home radio became more common, the music industry became a chance to keep track of and measure the popularity of all the sales and records. The radio program Your Hit Parade, anybody know what year that started in? 1935. Film musicals were an important part of popular music during the 30s, offering a brief reprieve from the grim reality of the Great Depression, and were an easy and affordable means for entertainment. These films opened a door to the glamorous world of Hollywood, showcasing songs, dance, and numbers in the front of a stylish background. There was a major boom in the production of musicals, and the technology of adding synchronized sound improved dramatically following the release of the first talking picture. Again, anybody know when the first talking picture was? And what was it? The Jazz Singer, 1935. Musical films were an important part of popular music during the 30s. The swing era, an offshoot of the previous popular jazz genre, swing music was developed near the end of the 1920s, and it reached out at the height of its popularity from the mid-30s to the early 40s. Benny Goodman was often cited as introducing the big band style to masses at the Palomar Ballroom beginning in 1935. 1935 was pretty important that year, that decade. Swing, different from traditional jazz, is that the songs would often have a stronger driving force. They focused on the rhythm section and allowed some improvisations, while others featured soloists or vocalists. The style also adapted was other genres of fusion with country and blues, where they were very popular too. Band leaders like Chick Webb, Fletcher Henderson, Cab Calloway, Artie Shaw, and the Dorsey Brothers were all important. Remember those names? Those are names out of the past. Some of the most iconic 1930 songs of this era included Begin to Begin, Minnie the Moocher, It Doesn't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing, and Sing, Sing, Sing. Crooners and first pop stars, while thought as a derogatory term for singers of sentimental pop and jazz standards, many crooners, as they were called, became popular during the 30s. The genre fit well with the style of radio at the moment and created some of the first musical heartthrobs, pop stars, and teen idols of the time. Artists like Bing Crosby, Russ Columbo, Hoagy Carmichael, and Rudy Vallee best represented the mostly male-dominated genre. Vallee was considered the voice of the decade, appearing in films and hosting his own radio program, as well as recording hit songs like 1932, Say It Isn't So, and Can You Spare a Dime? Also recorded by Bing Crosby in 1934, along with, this may surprise you, 1934, P.S. I Love You. You just thought that came out last year, didn't you? Bing Crosby, while not necessarily a teen idol type, considered a crooner, became one of the first multimedia stars. He was one of the best-selling musicians of all time and certainly dominated the charts in the 30s. Crosby got his start by recording with popular orchestras and soon found solo success with a weekly radio show. He belted out his hits on the air, and they were quickly reached the top of the charts as listeners flocked to his distinctive bass baritone voice. He became starring in several short films where he appeared as himself, which launched his career. He remained popular throughout the 40s and 50s, getting larger roles on screen and still making waves as a hit-making recording artist and performer. Somewhere Over the Rainbow was written as a ballad by Harold Arlen and lyrics by Yip Harburg in 1939 for the movie The Wizard of Oz. The song was sung by Dorothy, played by Judy Garland, in 1939. The song was deleted from the film when MGM executive Louis B. Mayer and producer Marvin LeRoy thought that it slowed down the movie. But associate producer Arthur Freed and Roger Edens decided that it belonged in the film, so it was placed back into the film. Begin the Beguine, a popular song written by Cole Porter between Kalabahi, Indonesia and Fiji during a 1935 Pacific cruise aboard the Cunard Line Franconia. It was introduced by June Knight in the Broadway musical Jubilee, produced at the Imperial Theater in New York City. 2 years later, the band leader Artie Shaw recorded an arrangement of this song, which really made it popular in 1937. Cheek to Cheek. This song was written by Irving Berlin. Now, there's a name you've heard before. In 1935 for the Fred Astaire Ginger Rogers movie Top Hat. It was nominated for an Oscar, but was broken out by the song Lullaby of Broadway. Louis Armstrong is another name. Another name, Ella Fitzgerald. They both redid the song for the album Ella and Lewis in 1956, which most of us remember. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. This song was composed by Duke Ellington, and the lyrics by Irving Mills in August 1931. It was considered a legendary jazz standard. It was played and sung by trumpeter Ray Nance. Blue Moon. The song was written by Richard and Lawrence Hart in 1934. It may be the first instance of a familiar 50s progression in the popular song that has become a standard ballad. The song was a hit twice in 1949 with successful recordings in the USA by Billy Eckstine and Mel Torme. Blue Moon became the #1 hit for the doo-wop group, the Marcells, on the Billboard 100 chart over the years. Other artists included Frank Sinatra, Billie Holiday, Elvis Presley, the Platters, the Mavericks, Dean Martin, the Supremes, and Bing Crosby. Now, I know you all remember those names. Summertime. The song was composed by George Gershwin and the lyrics by Du Bois Hayward in 1934 for the opera Porgy and Bess. This song was also considered to be jazz. My Prayer. The music was written by soloist, salon violinist George Boulanger, and the lyrics by Carlos Gomez Barrera and Jimmy Kennedy in 1926, and the lyrics were added by Kennedy in 1939. Glenn Miller recorded the song that year for a #2 hit, and the Ink Spots version featuring Bill Kenny reached #3 as well as on the same year. Other versions of the song, the Platters did it in doo-wop in 1956.
And no songbirds are singing. When the twilight is gone, you come into my heart, and here in my heart you will stay while I pray. My prayer
I've Got Rhythm. This song was composed by George Gershwin with lyrics by Ira Gershwin in 1930 for the musical Girl Crazy. Ethel Merman sang the song, and when George Gershwin heard her sing, he quoted to her, "Ethel, don't ever take another lesson. It is perfect." Let's Fall in Love. It became a major hit by Eddie Duchin. The film It Should Happen to You, 1954, featured this song as a central love theme between Jack Lemmon and Judy Holliday, who sang it several times, and then they hummed it together towards the end of the film. Alexander's Ragtime Band is a song by Irving Berlin in 1941. It is believed that he wrote about a real band leader who was popular at the time in New Orleans and actually was known as Alexander's Ragtime Band after its leader, Alexander Joseph Waltz, who was very popular during 1904 to 1911. It was considered to be the most popular white ragtime jazz band in New Orleans. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes is a show tune written by American composer Jerome Kern. The lyrics by Otto Harbach for the 1933 musical Roberta. The song was sung in the Broadway show by Thelma Drazen. Paul Whiteman now had the first recording of the song on the record charts in 1934. The song was reprised by Irene Dunne, who performed it in the 1935 film adaptation of the musical co-starring Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, and Randolph Scott. The song was also included in the 1952 remake of Roberta. It was also a #1 chart hit by the Platters in 1958.